Ursarctics? With the new Ursarctic support, the goal of Ursarctic is to activate radiation as early as possible so you can draw as many cards every time you summon an Ursarctic monster from the hand or extra deck. Then you want to summon Polari to activate the field spell from the deck, then summon Polar Star to synchro twice. It's not once per turn. You can use the field spell so Polar Star doesn't have to tribute itself, so Polar Star can use its effect a second time to synchro summon again. If everything goes according to plan, then you'll be able to summon at least 3 synchro boss monsters, so let's show off those combos. The first thing we need to do is aim to get the radiation spell active as soon as possible. We're going to use Polar to search for Ursatron Alpha, and then use Ursatron Alpha to search for the radiation spell and activate the radiation spell, and put 7 counters on the radiation spell. We'll special summon a tuner, reduce 1 counter on the radiation spell to draw a card, synchro into Polari. We want to activate Polari on Chain Link 2 to activate the field spell from the deck. We only have 1 copy of the field spell and we don't want to draw into it with radiation. So now we need to synchro into Polar Star. We only have level 7 monsters in the hand or field. This is where Polari comes in handy. Polari can tribute 1 monster on the field, then add an Ursarctic from the graveyard to the hand or special summon it. We can use this effect to swap a monster on the field for a level 8 tuner in the graveyard. We happen to have McBillis in the hand, so we can add the level 8 tuner to our hand and then use McBillis to special summon that tuner. This will also give us 2 draws with the radiation spell. Now we can synchro into Polar Star, draw a card, and then we can activate Polar Star using the field spell, banishing a monster from the graveyard to special summon Septetreon from the extra deck. Polar Star is not once per turn, so if you happen to draw into another level 8 monster, you can activate Polar Star, tribute the level 8 and itself, and special summon Grand Chariot from the extra deck. If you drew into a second radiation spell, then you can activate Grand Chariot on Chain Link 1, then activate the radiation spell on Chain Link 2 to draw a card. Grand Chariot will destroy the first one and will activate the second radiation spell. This gives us another 7 counters to draw 7 more cards. To complete our board, we're going to need to get a level 8 tuner on the field so we can synchro with Polari. We'll activate the effect of Nyctanus to add a tuner from the graveyard to the hand. Then we'll special summon that tuner. Then using that tuner and Polari, we can synchro into a level 9 synchro. So this is the most you're going to get out of using just the Ursarctic engine. You'll have 3 synchros, all 3 are floodgates on legs. Both Septetreon and Grand Chariot have gained the effect from Polar Star to negate activations of monsters with a level summon from the extra deck. Shen banishes any card sent from the field to the graveyard, so this is going to help you against graveyard-centric decks. Grand Chariot also protects your Ursarctic cards from targeting effects, so Snake Eyes Sinful Spoils is not a big threat. We'll have 2 or 3 empty spaces on the field. One of them will be used to steal monsters using the field spell, and the others will be used to summon your level 8 Ursarctics, which act as hand traps on your opponent's turn. If your opponent special summons a monster, you can use Septetreon to add one of your Ursarctic hand traps to the hand. So I've added Megapolar to the hand, which allows me to destroy a spell or trap card. They activate a field spell. So I'll special summon Megapolar, but I'll use the Big Dipper to banish a card from the graveyard so I don't have to tribute a monster from my hand, and then activate Megapolar to destroy that field spell, and I can chain block with the radiation spell. On Chain Link 3, the opponent's going to fusion summon using a Quick Play spell. We still have 2 monsters on the field that negate the activations of fusion monsters. Effects that don't activate are still going to be a problem. And the opponent just fusion summoned into the Fist Dark Lord. This has a continuous effect that protects all of their fairy monsters from cards that target. So I won't be able to flip it face down with Megatanus, and I also won't be able to steal it with the Big Dipper field spell, which also is a targeting effect. I'll activate the Big Dipper field spell and target their non-fairy fusion monster and steal it. The opponent now has enough beat sticks to out the board with a 3000 attack and 4000 attack. They destroy Shen in battle, and then they go for Septetreon. I'm not sure if they don't know, but Grand Chariot is also floodgating the activations of their fusion monsters. It's possible they didn't read Polar Star, or they thought Shen was just a bigger threat. So before the turn ends, we'll summon Megatanus and draw a card. Then we'll activate Radiation to target one of our Ursarctic monsters and shuffle it back into the deck. So getting rid of that Dark Lord is going to be a problem because it is unaffected by targeting, and a lot of our effects are targeting. But we do have 1 out. The opponent's going to chain a Called by the Grave to negate our Nyctanus, but we're going to activate Slider to special summon that Nyctanus from the graveyard and dodge that Called by the Grave. It wasn't the best play. The Nyctanus in the hand is no longer negated, and the field is no longer empty, so the Mechanus in the hand is just going to go straight to the graveyard. Summoning McPolar from the graveyard would have been a better play. We're going to use Mechanus to add Alpha to the hand, and then Synchro into our Polar Star. The opponent will activate Dramaturge to target and negate one of our Ursarctic monsters. We're going to respond with Grand Chariot by tributing one of our monsters, and then negate that effect. This chain was started by summoning Polar Star, so on chain link 1, we're going to activate the Radiation spell to draw a card. Now we can activate Polar Star using the field spell to banish a card from the graveyard and special summon our Ursarctic Septetrion. We'll draw a card with Radiation, and then activate Ice Jade Ron. Special summon the Ice Jade Ron by discarding 1 water, and then special summon a level 3 token, so we can then Synchro summon with that token into an Ice Jade Jameer. So I thought I had Social Chenging in the deck. That is an out to cards that cannot be targeted, so I'm going to have to go into Wolfram Freyed instead. This is a second card that can also out cards that cannot be targeted. Its attack will increase by 300 every time we activate a monster effect. So we're going to keep activating monster effects until it reaches 4000 attack. We don't have too many monster effects to activate, so we're cutting it really close here. We're going to activate the Megatanus in the hand, and then Synchro into Polari. We'll have to activate the effect of Polari by tributing our Grand Chariot to special summon a level 8 tuner from the graveyard. Then we'll Synchro with Polari and the tuner into a Grand Chariot. Grand Chariot will destroy the spell, increasing Wolfrayet to 3700. Then we'll activate the effect of Shen in the graveyard, special summon it by banishing 2 monsters with different attributes. This will bring Wolfrayet to 4000 attack, so we can activate its effect to shuffle all of our opponent's monster and itself back into the deck, and now we can go for game. Let's dive a little deeper into the Diva Engine. Diva is a 1-card Synchro, so it's splashed into any water deck that can Synchro summon. In Ursarctics, we can use Diva to summon Guitar or Atlantean Prince. Atlanteans can dump Atlantean Dragoon to the graveyard to add 2 Pasidros to your hand, giving you 2 free tribute fodder to summon your Ursarctics from the hand. Using 1 card, we can summon a tuner and a non-tuner from the deck with a level difference of 1, so we can Synchro summon into Polari or Polar Star. On summon, Guitar can banish cards from the top of our opponent's deck equal to the number of water monsters we control. Then we can double the level of our Guitar to level 6 and then Synchro with our Diva into a Cell Synchro Stardust Dragon. A Cell Synchro will then summon the Diva from the graveyard, and then we can Synchro into a level 10 Synchro into a Baron de Flor before the 5th summon, protecting us from Nibiru. Now we can commit to our Ursarctic combo. Our Diva Engine involves using the Synchro Overtake spell to reveal Deepsea repertoire from our extra deck. Then we can take Deepsea Diva from our deck and add it to our hand or special summon it. Here we'll use Synchro Overtake to special summon Deepsea Diva from the deck. We can Synchro with a level 7 monster to summon a level 9 Synchro, or if we don't have another way to get Polar Star on the field, we can Synchro with Polari into Polar Star. Guitar as a Garnet can brick if you draw it with Diva. This probability is reduced by having Synchro Overtake. You can special summon Diva from the deck, and then normal summon Guitar and Synchro summon. The brick probability is reduced even further if you consider the fact that Radiation will let you draw 7 cards, increasing the probability of drawing into Synchro Overtake. The probability of drawing Synchro Overtake is about 2 in 3 games, assuming that you draw 7 cards with Radiation. You could also just discard a bricked Guitar with the Ursarctic Departure spell, so drawing a Guitar is not as bricky as you might suspect. Let's run it back, do the Ursarctic combo again, but this time we're going to draw into Deepsea Diva, and then normal summon that Deepsea Diva in the middle of our combo to special summon Guitar from the deck and banish 4 cards from the top of our opponent's deck. We'll activate Polar Star to special summon Grand Chariot from the extra deck and use it to pop the Radiation spell. On Chain Link 2, we'll activate the Radiation spell. The Radiation spell will resolve first, drawing a card, and Grand Chariot will then destroy it. Now we can activate our second Radiation spell. Guitar will then double its level, so we can Synchro summon with Deepsea Diva into a Cell Synchro Stardust Dragon. Ursarctic is doing a lot of drawing with the Radiation spell, and if we draw into one of our 6 soft copies of Deepsea Diva, then we're just getting a free normal summon into a Synchro monster. Baron de Fleur. We can activate the effect of Polar Star to special summon Septetrion using a level 8 from our hand. Now we just need to get a level 8 tuner on the field to Synchro with Polari. I plan on Synchro summoning into Shen using the Polari and level 8 tuner, so I'm going to have to activate Ursarctic Departure before we summon it, because Ursarctic Departure does need to be sent to the graveyard so you can use its graveyard effect on your opponent's turn. If you don't know, Ursarctic Departure allows you to banish it from the graveyard except the turn it was sent to the graveyard as a cost to activate your Ursarctic monsters. It allows you to special summon your Ursarctic Hand Trap Mega Bears for free. To finish up our combo, we drew into an Ice Jade Ron, so we're going to special summon Ice Jade Ron and the token to Synchro summon into an Ice Jade Jameer. So this is the best possible board you can make with the deck. It assumes you've been uninterrupted and you drew into all the right cards just to make it happen. The planets of the Ursarctic Federation have to align. It's very unlikely, but it's still important to see what the deck can do if you're doing everything right. This board has 4 floodgates. Both Ursarctics are negating you from extra deck monsters. Jameer is protecting all your monsters from card destruction and banishment, and Shen Shen is banishing any card sent to the graveyard. We also have an Omni Negate to protect us, a field spell to steal monsters, so we're going to go ahead and steal this Rescue Ace Turbulence. And if they do manage to break our board, we have access to Septetrion to search for a hand trap, and we already have another hand trap in our hand. We'll be able to special summon both of them for free using the field spell and the departure spell in the graveyard as cost to activate their tribute summons. So some more tips with this deck. Ash Blossom is a level 3 tuner, so you can normal summon it to synchro with your level 7 bodies. This is especially useful if you draw into Ash later in the game with Radiation, and you have a free level 7 body on the board to synchro summon with. Baron de Fleur can also be used to destroy one of your own cards. You can destroy a radiation spell in order to activate a second radiation spell, or you can destroy one of your own bodies that is not being used on the field, so you can make space for your field spell to steal a monster your opponent controls, and to summon a hand trap added to your hand by Septetrion. So what other outs to nib are there? If you normal summon Diva into Baron before the 5th summon, then you can negate nib. But if your opponent has impermed your Diva, then you're in for some trouble because they can nib you. The other out to Nibiru is your opponent just not knowing how this deck works. So the opponent nibbed us here, but we have Radiation as well as the Big Dipper field spell. So we just need to get Polar Star in the field and then finish up our combo. So, you know, this deck doesn't have any negates other than Baron de Fleur. So the opponent didn't need to nib us here. They could have waited until the end of our combo and then nibbed us there. So now we're going to be able to summon our level 8 tuner while we have a level 7 monster on the field. This will allow us to synchro summon into our Polar Star. So as long as we have the Big Dipper field spell and the Radiation spell to draw cards, if we can get Polar Star on the field, we can activate Polar Star to banish a card from the graveyard using the Big Dipper field spell to summon Septetrion and floodgate the opponent. Here we're going to use the Big Dipper field spell to steal the Nibiru. It is a threat to our board because they could just ram it into Septetrion and remove the floodgate, and hopefully your opponent will just scoop because Septetrion is just too cold to handle. Maxx C can be a problem to deal with. If the opponent activates Maxx C and you have no hand traps, and then you pass your turn to your opponent, they're just going to be able to combo uninterrupted, and you're probably going to lose anyway. So you might as well just commit to taking the Maxx C challenge. Out of the 4 games in which I was forced to take the Maxx C challenge, I won all 4 games. This is partly due to the fact that your end board is going to end on a bunch of floodgates, which shut off a lot of your opponent's ability to do anything. So your opponent can draw into 20 cards, but your floodgates are preventing most of those cards from being useful. And another reason why is that Nibiru doesn't exist. As long as you really believe that Nibiru doesn't exist, it won't exist. If you truly believe this, then there is no challenge in taking the Maxx C challenge. Well, the only real challenge is you. Your fears, your doubts, your belief that Nibiru is real is holding you back. So now we have Jameer on the field, we have 2 monsters that negate extra deck monsters, and we have a bunch of hand traps and Big Dipper. So the opponent's playing Elemental Heroes with Tier Elements, and they just added Plasma to their hand. We're gonna banish Vion with Jameer. Removing Vion from the field will prevent them from using Vion to search a fusion spell. They just summoned Dark Law, which is gonna be a problem. Somebody call the judge, but not for me. Dark Law is now our monster. Now any of our opponent's cards sent to the graveyard is just gonna be banished, which is gonna be a very big problem for a hero tier element deck. They still have Plasma in their hand, which they can just summon by tributing 3 of their own monsters. All of those cards are going to be banished, so bye-bye Kid Kalos. They're going to steal Jameer, beat over the Dark Law, and now we're just going to special summon some monsters. We know the effects don't work because of Plasma. Plasma is negating all of our monster effects, but we just want to get the counters on Big Dipper as close to 7 as we can. So on our turn, we can special summon. And then we're going to get the Big Dipper to 6 counters, and then 7 counters, and steal their Plasma. And then they're going to scoop. Turn 0 plays require that 3 cards to be used from your hand, so it's not something you want to commit to unless you know for a fact that it will stop your opponent from playing, or that your disruption severely cripples their combo. Because if your opponent does continue their combo, they can remove your monsters from the field and you won't be able to use them the next turn to synchro summon. In this situation, I know the opponent has no way to bounce back from a flip down Poplar. If they had Diabellstar, then they would have started their combo with it. Trap decks are a good reason for why you want to play on turn 0. When they try to end their turn, you can summon Megapolar for a free pop. Against Labyrinth, you want to target Big Welcome Labyrinth and destroy it if you know which one it is, because that's going to hurt their grind game. Tearlaments is another deck where turn 0 plays are good. You can use Megabilis to banish a tier monster from the graveyard. You have to chain Megabilis to Supreme Sea Mare or a normal summon Tearlament Rhino. That way you can activate Megabilis to banish a tier monster on Chainlink 2, preventing them from fusion summoning with the tier monster sent to the graveyard. There will be links to a combo sheet with dueling book replays made by Awesomeness Prime, also known as Polari in the Master Duel Discord. You can also find this combo sheet in the pins of the Ursarctic channel. If you see this person, show how much you appreciate all the work they put into it. You can also find links to my deck list in the description. So while building this deck, I wanted to maintain an 85% consistency of summoning at least one Septetrion. The amount of 1 to 1.5 card combos in this deck is 12. 3 Diva, 3 Overtake, 3 McPolar, and 3 Departure. This gives us the consistency we need to make this deck able to have that 85% consistency. You can also find a link to the consistency calculator with the code in the description. Some people choose to run 2 Radiation because it can brick you if you draw into a 2nd or 3rd Radiation with the Radiation spell. But without 3 Radiation, the consistency of summoning Septetrion falls to around 80%. You can also view having more Radiation spells as resistance to disruptions. Imagine you try to search for your Ursarctic spells with Ursatron Alpha, and the opponent negates it with Ash Blossom. This would cripple your ability to combo. Having Radiation already in your hand means you're not worried about Ash because you're just going to be drawing up to 7 cards anyway and you're going to be chain blocking. So 3 Radiation is worth the risk to me. I don't have much more to say. Bye for now. Bear hugs.